Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we've got, of course, two new cards to talk about. We have the new Produce SSR for Chiyoko, as well as the Support SSR for Tenka. Keep in mind that both of these cards are permanent, and there is no spark to this banner either. The only way you're going to guarantee yourself any copies of the characters is if you do the paid-only step-up that guarantees you either a Chiyoko or a Tenka if you do all 4 steps. With that being said, let's go ahead and begin talking about both of these cards, starting of course with Chiyoko. Chiyoko initially is a visual unit that evolves into a vocal unit once you reach 3 stars. Her initial appeal is a visual 3.5 that raises your attention by 15% for 4 turns and follows up with an attention raise of 10% for 5 turns. The plus appeal requires all of Hokura on your team, as well as 3 or more attention up buffs. This grants you a visual 50% buff for 3 turns. The upgraded version of this appeal is a vocal 5.0 that raises your attention by 30% for 4 turns and 20% for 5 turns. The plus appeal is the same conditions, all of Hokura on your team and 3 or more attention up buffs in order to get a vocal 50% buff for 3 turns. Her 2-star passive is a vocal visual 90% up if you have 3 or more attention up buffs. Has a 20% chance to activate twice, and her 4-star passive is a vocal 85% if you have the full Hokura lineup. It has a 20% chance to activate once. Her memory appeal when maxed out is a vocal 2.0 that links into a vocal maximum 3.5 that scales based on how high your attention is. Since it's been a while, remember that attention has to be raised over 200% to reach that 3.5, which in turn means utilizing a lot of attention-raising passives and appeals in order to increase this damage. Luckily, Hokura has many older cards that can raise your attention well over 100% on an individual appeal or passive that will make getting the 200% attention necessary much easier. Chiyoko is a card that Hokura wishes they had last year. Attention Hokura have needed a card like Chiyoko for a really long time, and unfortunately now, a lot of Hokura builds are straying away from this, especially if we look at their newer limited cards. Being able to stack multiple attention bonuses in one appeal has been absolutely the thing cards like Gyudon Rinzai or Snowboard Natsuha have absolutely needed to function, and now we finally have a card like that, just a little too late for it to feel like something people actually want to try to do. Now, for herself as a card, I actually do think that she is a worthy choice over Chiyoko 5 nowadays. Chiyoko 5 used to be one of the most important cards to vocal Hokura specifically, but now because Fess has gotten so fast, and Choco's attention bomb is too slow for a lot of formats where Chiyoko doesn't get to go first, it means that this Chiyoko has some applications on teams where Chiyoko 5 would not, which is interesting enough to at least warrant considering. This card is an easy B+ to A- with solid passives, good appeals that accomplish things for Hokura, a not too terrible memory appeal. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it is something that you could potentially be doing if you don't have any of the other cards like MST Jury or Twaikole Rinzai for your center position. Now, let's talk about Tenka. Tenka is a visual support that has a couple masteries worth talking about. She has Visual Mastery Stamina, reaching +6 at level 80, otherwise +4 at level 70, +2 at level 30. She has Stamina Support, which goes up to +5 at level 70, or +3 at level 60. She has Unit Mastery Visual, which reaches +12 at level 75, +8 at 65, and +6 at 55. Ideally, you want to have this Tenka at 2 stars if you want to make the most of all of her masteries. While there are obviously some upgrades you can get at 75 and 80, most of them are not that significant enough. You're getting everything you want out of her at 2 stars and getting some little bonuses at higher grades. And naturally, because this card is a perm, that means that you're going to be finding copies of her ideally in any free pulls we get in the future. On to the rest of her kit. Her appeal is a visual 3.0 that grants you a mental 3% heal. Her 2-star passive is a visual 70% up and mental 1% heal. That requires it to be turned to her earlier, and that you have Tenka on your team. Has a 20% chance to activate once. Tenka is a little odd. While her 2-star passive is an extreme freebie for Visual Alstroemeria, it might be a tough sell if you're using a much stronger visual set of supports. What is worth mentioning is that this Tenka is overall better than Avalon Tenka, her original limited visual support. But that's not too surprising given that Avalon Tenka is a really old card at this point. This is a fine enough visual support that has some access to mental healing in order to give you some stacks to use on your visual Austromedia teams that scale with how many heals you've gotten. Having a passive that can give you 1 heal is already a pretty decent start early on. This card, I would say, is a B- to B tier support. If she had any amount of SP generation or additional stamina recovery, maybe unit mastery stamina, this card could be a pretty easy A-, but otherwise I think this card is solidly in the mid tier, and will probably see some play in visual builds if they are trying to go for a full Austro support lineup, but I think it's going to be a pretty tough sell with how strong visual supports have gotten nowadays. So, that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and comment on the video if there's anything that you think about with these 2 cards that I didn't bring up in the video as well. Or if you have any comments to the format, let me know too. Next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, so let's look forward to it together. Till the next one, I've been Cho, thank you for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day.